Picture this. You're walking through a neighborhood in Bruges, Belgium. Every building around you is brick, dark red, hand-laid, walls so thick you can lean against them and feel the weight of centuries pushing back. Some of these houses have been standing since the 1600s. The streets are narrow, the facades are ornate. Nothing looks mass-produced because nothing was. Now fly to the outskirts of Warsaw, Brussels, Rotterdam, any major European city built after 1970. Concrete panels, prefabricated blocks, glass and steel frames wrapped in cheap render that cracks after 10 years. Buildings that look like they were designed to be forgotten. Something happened to European architecture. It happened fast. It was driven by one catastrophe, one ideology, and one radical idea about what a modern city should look like. And just like in America, almost nobody noticed it until the damage was already done. Let's go back to 1945. Europe is in ruins, not metaphorically, literally. Entire city centers have been bombed flat. Warsaw lost 85% of its buildings. Rotterdam's medieval center was erased in a single afternoon in 1940. Across Germany, France, the Netherlands, and the UK, millions of people have no homes. The continent needs to rebuild, and it needs to do it immediately. This is when brick lost Europe. Before the war, brick was everywhere. Walk through any pre-war neighborhood in Amsterdam, Manchester, or Ghent, and you will see it. Structural brick, load-bearing walls, houses built by craftsmen who spent years learning a single trade. These buildings were not just shelter, they were statements. I am building something permanent, something worthy of the street it stands on.
Because unlike America, where the shift away from brick was driven by the private market and men like William Levitt, in Europe it was driven by governments, by ideology, by a genuine belief that modern meant concrete, that brick was backward, that the future was clean lines, open space, and mass production. Brick became associated with the past, with the poverty of the old city, with everything the modern welfare state was supposed to replace. The results were not what anyone hoped. The great housing blocks of the 1960s and 70s are now some of the most troubled neighborhoods in Europe, cut off from city centers, poorly maintained, built for function with zero thought for beauty or community. Le Corbusier imagined towers in a park. What got built was towers in a car park. Meanwhile, the brick neighborhoods they replaced or overshadowed, still standing, still desirable, still exactly what everyone wants to live in. Walk through Notting Hill in London, the Marais in Paris, the Jordan District in Amsterdam. These are pre-war brick neighborhoods, and they are now among the most expensive places to live on Earth. The thing that was supposed to be replaced became the thing everyone is willing to pay a premium to live inside. There is a pattern here worth paying attention to. Every time a society decided that the old way of building was inefficient and the new way was progress, they were often right about the efficiency and completely wrong about everything else. The new buildings were faster, they were cheaper, they housed more people per square meter. Every calculation on paper worked out, but people do not live on paper.
A brick house built in 1890 is still standing because it was built with the assumption that it would need to stand forever. A concrete panel block built in 1965 was built with the assumption that it would be replaced by something better within a generation. Except nothing better came. The temporary became permanent, and the permanent became luxury. Today, full structural masonry in Europe costs between 2 and 3 times what standard concrete or timber frame construction costs. Not because bricks stopped working, because the industry that knew how to build with it was dismantled in one urgent decade and never fully rebuilt. The craftsmen retired, the apprenticeships closed, the local brickyards that had supplied neighborhoods for generations became housing developments themselves. And yet, go to the Netherlands today, to Denmark, to parts of Germany. You will still find new buildings going up in brick, not as decoration, not as a thin tile glued to a concrete frame. actual structural brick laid by hand, built to last 200 years. These countries never fully abandoned the tradition, and their cities look entirely different because of it. The brick house is not dead everywhere, but in the places where it died, it did not die because it failed. It died because in one urgent moment, in the rubble of a continent, someone decided that speed mattered more than permanence. And then that decision quietly became the standard. The beautiful brick neighborhoods are still out there, in the oldest parts of every European city, still solid, still doing exactly what they were built to do 400 years ago. Maybe the question is not why we stopped building like that. Maybe the question is why we are still okay with what replaced it. If this made you look at a building differently, that is exactly what this channel is here for. Subscribe, because there is a hidden story behind almost everything you walk past every day.